Hey guys, it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and today I'm going to give you a detailed review of the XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 from the perspective of a professional illustrator and art teacher. Please note that XP Pen did send me this display for review, but I intend, as I always do, not to let that influence my overall opinion of the product. Now, let's start with the physical aspects of the tablet. The Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 has a sleek and simple looking design with minimal branding. It's fairly light, which I consider a big plus because it makes it comfortable to move around your studio if you're the type of person who likes to shift your workstation around frequently. The 19-inch screen provides ample space for working on detailed illustrations or large compositions. As someone used to working on larger displays, I appreciate the extra real estate it gives me without being overwhelming. I would consider 19 inches as the upper limit when it comes to portability. However, it should fit into larger carry bags if you choose to take it on the road. The tablet also comes with well-built, retractable legs that do feel sturdy, although I would only use them for temporary setups. I don't consider the drawing angle sufficient for long-term usage ergonomically. However, I found a very inexpensive workaround for this problem. I could prop it up on my Parblo PR100 tablet stand if it's perfectly and feels nice and stable. This also allowed me to take advantage of the full range of adjustability to set it up at the optimal angle. If that option doesn't tickle your fancy, however, then note that the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 is also VESA mount compatible if you prefer to mount it on a VESA arm. Now, a very important point. When watching Borodante's review of the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2, which you can check out right over here, I was surprised to hear that he encountered an exact same issue that I did. The display came out of the box with a laminated screen popped out, and I had to manually pop it back in by squeezing it back together with my hand. Although this might not impact the longevity of the product, this being a short-term review, please do take this into consideration moving forward. With that said, lastly but certainly not least, I love the fact that I can run this entire generously sized 4K pen display using a single USB-C cable. This is one of the most important features in my opinion. You can easily unplug it and move it out of the way when you aren't using it. You can take it on the road and plug it into your laptop at a cafe. It's just a far better option when having to deal with a power brick, HDMI cable, and USB cable that my Cintiq requires. Note as well that the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 comes equipped with 2 USB-C ports along with 2 angled USB-C cables in the box. The second port provides the display with more power, allowing you to increase the peak brightness if you prefer. Now, let's dive into screen quality. The XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 boasts a fully laminated screen with a 178-degree viewing angle. Although I personally find, quote, viewing angles a bit of a pointless spec when it comes to drawing displays because I only intend on using it directly in front of me when I'm drawing. The laminated screen means there's no air gap between the display and the glass, which reduces parallax, a common issue when the pen tip doesn't align perfectly with the cursor. As for color accuracy, the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 comes included with a Carmen verified software calibration report. It claims 1.07 billion colors and covers 99.8% of the sRGB color gamut, which is excellent. In my testing, the colors appeared fairly accurate and reliable. Note as well that you can easily swap between 3 different color profiles: Adobe RGB, sRGB, and P3, as well as a, quote, user profile, which I generally found worked best when compared to my Apple Studio display. The screen itself has a matte finish, which helps reduce glare, but also provides a smooth yet responsive surface texture, which I found was nice to draw on. Personally, I love matte displays because they offer just enough resistance for the pen to feel more natural. However, if you're someone who prefers glossy screens for sharper colors and clarity, this could feel a bit muted for you. Note that XP Pen markets the surface as a, quote, nano texture, but rest assured, in terms of screen and image quality, there's no comparison between the XP Pen Artist Pro 19 and the M4 iPad Pro's nano texture, which I reviewed over here, which is, for obvious reasons, vastly better. That said, it's not bad by any means, it's just, well, not an Apple display, so do manage your expectations. Lastly, note that this is a 4K display, which is excellent. However, 4K on a 19-inch display means that the interface and text scales to a near unreadably small size. When drawing, I don't mind the small size at all because I prefer the sharper image and more canvas space, so I tend to keep it at the 4K setting. Now, let's talk about pens. Yes, pens, plural. The Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 comes with both the X3 Pro Roller stylus and X3 Pro Slim stylus that boasts over 16,000 levels of pen pressure. From my experience, the pen pressure sensitivity is smooth, and I had no issues with jitter or lag at all, even when working on detailed strokes or heavy brushwork. The new X3 Pro chip inside the stylus promises more accurate pressure detection, and I noticed that it picked up very nicely on subtle shifts of pressure, slightly better than older XP Pen models I've tested. As I mentioned earlier, the Artist Pro 19 actually comes with two pens. One standard thickness pen that includes a roller button that can be used for multiple functions such as zooming, rotating, or in my case, brush size. And of course, two additional standard action buttons that I personally set for eyedropper and right click, as I do with all of my styluses. There's also a thinner pen that doesn't have the roller button. Its thickness will feel very familiar to somebody who uses the Apple Pencil, although it's notably lighter in the hand, which you may prefer or not, depending on your personal taste. So how do I feel about this new innovative roller button? Well, I feel it can be practical for things like brush size or zoom. However, if you prefer using the keyboard or other accessories for that function, then you're kind of stuck with this extra roller button that you'll need to get your finger around if you wish to access the other action buttons. I feel that this might be a bit of a hit or miss for some. In my case, it's perfectly fine and is sometimes handy, but I actually prefer using my keyboard or other accessories, which I'll share with you in just a moment, for brush size that I feel are faster and or more accurate. This also might sound silly of me to say, but one of the things I felt was a bit of a drawback when using the roller button was that it significantly reduced the usefulness of my other hand. My left hand just felt useless and idle when drawing, and I missed being able to use both hands to share functions while drawing instead of consolidating 80% of all of my actions to a single finger. Personally, I think I would have opted for the 3-button approach that Wacom has implemented into their styluses, although I do feel that the wheel is interesting and some people may enjoy using it. As for the slim stylus, it felt nice in the hand, and I personally preferred the simplicity of only 2 basic buttons in this case. Although having larger hands, I tend to use a thicker grip. I purchased a pencil grip for my Apple Pencil for this exact reason. Ultimately, I think that public opinion will vary for sure, but I did appreciate the extra options, so that's cool. The XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 also comes with an included wireless shortcut remote in the box, which offers 10 customizable shortcut keys and a multifunction dial which can be programmed to suit your workflow. That said, I personally don't care for it at all, for a few reasons. Firstly, the build quality is very meh and very much feels like an afterthought accessory. Secondly, all of the buttons look the same, feel the same, and aren't marked, meaning you'll need to memorize each shortcut button by location alone, and you'll need to move your eyes away from your drawing to locate the correct button visually. From my experience, that slows you down. If this is a keyboard replacement, then a keyboard just has more functionality. Now, going back to what I mentioned earlier about, quote, a preferred accessory over the stylus roller button. One of my long-term favorite artist accessories is the Tourbox. Not sponsored. I've reviewed multiple models on my channel, from the original Tourbox to the Elite to the Lite version, and generally had mostly great things to say about them. Every button feels different, just like a game controller. The wheel buttons are uniquely shaped, fast, and responsive, and there are multiple other buttons and wheels that are immediately identifiable by feel, not just appearance or location. This, to me, is a far more effective and intuitive way to implement shortcuts. You easily memorize and feel comfortable using the Tourbox within minutes of taking it out of the box and drawing with it. Seriously. Now, on the software side, XP Pen has done a good job ensuring compatibility with major art programs like Photoshop, Clip Studio, Paint, Krita, etc. I personally tested it on my Mac system and it worked perfectly without issue. I found that the software experience was clean, minimalist, robust enough for customizability, but not overwhelming at all. It didn't feel like a cheaply slapped together program, thought and design was put into it, and I had no issue figuring out all the settings and customization without any kind of guidance at all. Now, let's talk price. The XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 is in the mid-range of pen display tablets at roughly $1,100 Canadian or $900 US. Significantly more affordable is in the Wacom Cintiq Pro 22, a similarly spec'd 4K pen display with touchscreen for roughly $4,000 Canadian. Yeah! For professional illustrators on a budget, this is one of the strongest selling points. You get a lot of high-end features, like the fully laminated screen, good color accuracy, and solid pen performance, without breaking the bank. That said, you do compromise slightly in areas like build quality, image quality, and perhaps that more premium feel that you get from flagship models like Wacom Cintiqs. If you need the absolute top-tier color accuracy or pen smoothness, you might want to invest in a higher-end device. But do take into account that there are serious diminishing returns as you start moving into far higher price brackets. So, in conclusion, the XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 is a solid choice for illustrators looking for a professional-grade tablet without the hefty price tag. It does a mostly great job with screen quality, pen performance, and overall value. There are a few minor trade-offs, particularly if you're used to the more premium devices, but nothing that would be a deal breaker for most users, in my opinion. For professionals on a budget or even intermediate artists looking to step up their game, this tablet does offer a great balance of features at a reasonable price. Now, take note of that issue that Borodante and I experienced when we unboxed our pen displays to find the screen lamination popped out. Being a short-term review, this is concerning to me and does make me heavily question the long-term longevity of the product. All that said, I'm definitely enjoying my time with it. I've used it for my own work and I have no issues at all. The size and quality is perfectly sufficient for the professional work I have to do, and I have no problem recommending it to my friends and to my students. On that note, that's it for my review of the XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more art-related content, then please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Thank you and take care.